Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. My name is Daniel, and in today's video, I wanted to ask the question, how many dumpsters can one person actually be able to turn? As in, they pick up from one location and deliver to the next after they dump in between. What does that really look like for one person in the dumpster rental business? For me, I just experienced the longest day that I've ever had in my business, which was 5 pickups and 4 drop-offs in one day. I'm gonna share my information, but first, I wanted to talk through the different factors of what that would really mean for you in your application and to be able to kind of work through that. So we'll go ahead and get right into the video. So what are the different factors that really go into determining how many cans can you actually turn in one day? Essentially, the two primary things is time and distance. In this business, you're using a lot of time most likely, and you're having to travel. They go hand in hand, go figure. But there's different aspects to it. So if you are at a transfer station that you get in and out very quickly versus maybe a landfill that takes a lot longer, there's going to be a huge time discrepancy between the two. If you have a radius where you're willing to go very far away, then you're going to have a longer drive time and it's going to take a lot more miles out on the road compared to maybe somebody who's in a more of a metro area where you have lots of customers in a small area and you're kind of slammed in a small radius where you don't have to go so far away that it's going to take up a lot more time. There's also the loading and unloading process, whether you have a dump trailer, whether that's with a hydraulic jack like I have for one of mine. It takes just a matter of seconds for me to completely be unhooked, to chalk the wheels and to be gone, where maybe with a hook lift truck, it may take just a little bit longer. With a cable truck, I would assume, as I've started to get into it with my business, it's gonna take a little bit longer than a hook truck, I'm assuming. So there's different factors, all this different time at the landfill, at the transfer station, the time to get to maybe the closest landfill or transfer station, and then your customer radius. A lot of these things are going to determine what that would look like for you in your area, and as well as just your home base. If you're going from the landfill to drop off one to pick up another one because it's a different size, where is your storage area? Is it at your house? Is it further away? For me, it's right next to my transfer station next door, so it makes it very convenient for dumping and then immediately parking and then going on to the next run. So I'm gonna kind of share my kind of numbers or the gist of my business and what that looks like for me, and then kind of talk through kind of my mindset of where I want it to eventually go to, but what my current status is. So as I've shared on the channel before, I've got 2 dump trailers. I just got my roll-off truck, cable truck with 2 10-yard cans finally operational. I'm still super excited about that. I'm so overjoyed with it. It's still, I'm still asking, like, pinch me, like, I can't believe it. It's finally here. But so I have 4 myself, and then I have somebody else who has a dump trailer that lets me rent it out, and we split the profit on that 5th one. So I am able to say yes to more customers, and to me that's a great value in return, just to be able to have a larger customer base, to be able to say yes. So essentially, we'll say that I have 5 dumpsters, and so what that means for me is that hopefully, ideally, I have all of them rented out on any given day. But what if all 5 of them were being picked up and then dropped off within the same day, the same morning? For me, I operate on a shorter term rental basis. I do that because of the lower inventory. If I turn them quicker, I am making more money per day. I am more profitable, and I've been able to do that seemingly successfully. And what that means for me is that on any given day, worst case scenario, or technically best case scenario maybe financially, but worst case scenario with timing wise, scheduling wise, I need to be able to pick up 5 dumpsters and drop all 5 dumpsters off if they were all rented out on the same day. Worst case scenario, even though that would be great. So if I'm the only driver, that needs to be able to happen. The problem is is that what if I can't drop them off in a timely manner in that day? Because my current drop-off scheduling situation is that I drop off in the morning and then I pick up in the morning the next day, or however long they rent it out. Normally it's on a shorter term basis. So if I can't drop off in the morning, then that means I'm in trouble. That means I'm late. That means they're getting a partial day. That means they're getting next to no time with the dumpster that they paid for that day or days. And so that's a huge problem. Like I either have to change the structure of my time periods, which I'm not willing to do right now for several reasons, or I have to find a way to get them delivered in a timely manner in the morning. And so if you never have to pick up all of them and then drop them all off on any given day, then you're not going to know if you could possibly do it. Really having a mixed bag of maybe people who are closer to the transfer station than others, and then maybe having some people further away. What would that really look like to have all of your dumpsters out there somewhere in your radius, picked up and then dropped off? Could you do it? So for me, actually yesterday, I picked up 5 cans and then I dropped off 4. I wanted to see how long would it actually take me to do this. In this situation, I did have a mixed bag of my radiuses. I had ones that were right in town, and I had a few ones that were far away. One was over an hour. The other one was like over 35 minutes, close to 40 minutes. We're talking like a pretty decent radius for me, because if you are smaller, you most likely do have to have a larger radius to be able to acquire as many customers as you can, instead of just letting it sit there. Charge a little bit more for your fuel, but have a larger radius to at least get your feet underneath you and get going. So that's what I've done with my business, and that has now put me in a position, now that I have 5, I'm now in the position where I'm like, well, I have such a large radius that how long does it really take me? If I did have a day where, like we're talking about now, where I did have everything rented out or close to it, could I pull it off? Are the customers going to be upset with me? Like I want my word to be my bond. I want it to actually happen, for me to show up when I say I show up. And so can I pull it off? So the other day, I started the day at about 4:45. I went from 4:45 and I actually finished, I think, just right after 4 o'clock. So about 11 hours. Not too great. Not too great of a turnaround. For me, I've got this larger radius, and it was still a mixed bag. So let's say you have the same kind of situation where maybe you do have a larger radius because you are trying to maybe scalp some of the ones that the bigger companies aren't willing to go out to from the main cities that they're in. So you've got some folks on the outskirts, and then you've got some people maybe still on the inside of your town, whatever that looks like for you. And you're trying to make all of it kind of bounce around and work. For me, I have one transfer station that I go to. It is 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes if I somehow get delayed, or if I chat with the guys over at the transfer station. I'm in and I'm out very quickly normally. When the city trash comes through, they usually take up quite a bit of time. So it might be closer to 30 minutes, but usually I can avoid them when they do their rounds. So for the most part, I'm in and out for that aspect of it, but yet I do have a larger radius. So that's kind of working against me, because I have such a broad area. I have to drive all over Creation to be able to get to these people. So just simply looking at the numbers in my time, I'm supposed to be dropping off these dumpsters in the morning, and yet I was still doing that. I was finishing the day. I had picked the last one up, dumped it, and I had dropped it off over at my storage place to finish out the day. And it was late afternoon. I mean, it was going into the evening time. And so for me, my number, how many dumpsters can one person do in my application? And it's gonna be different than yours. In mine, I still don't know exactly what that is, but I know it's less than 5. So if I, worst case scenario again, what could you really do? For me, I can't do 5. I can't flip 5 in one day and be true to my word with my current setup. Now, someone might say you need to change your setup. I'll make a video about that and go into it at some point. And I know that's how most people do. They do larger time frames so that they're not in this position where I am at. However, I'm making too much money per day, per dumpster. I'm not willing to flip it yet. I do need to get more cans, in my opinion, to be able to operate on that basis. So for me, it's less than 5, that's for sure, with my different scenarios. So for you, if you're trying to find what is that number, maybe you do have a couple dump trailers, maybe you just bought a roll-off trailer that came with a set of 3, 4, 5, whatever that looks like, for these shorter time frames, then the other option that I have to make up that difference in the timing, to be able to actually deliver them on time, the other option is for me to decrease my radius. Now, I think that's something that most people eventually end up doing. Certainly the larger companies do that. I think what most people would do, at the very least, is maybe they do decrease their radius, but they say, if you want me to come X amount of, number of miles over to you from where I am at, essentially you're just gonna pave through the nose. Like, you're gonna have to pay me so much money. I don't wanna do it, but you're gonna pay me so much money that I'd be a fool not to. And basically price yourself out of the market to the point where it doesn't make sense for them to go with you, which, at a certain degree I understand, but that's what, unless you either get another driver, you change your scheduling times for dropping off or what your time period is, this is really the only other option you have. If you can't change the amount of time for the scheduling and the window for that area, you're going to have to change the radius. And so that's eventually, I think, what I'm gonna have to do, or maybe a portion of that. We'll see how that goes, but for me, I think the sweet spot for me is still 3 dumpsters. With my current radius. I think if I did drop down, if I got busy enough and I was turning cans quickly enough, if I was at a lower radius, a smaller radius for my area, I think I could do 5 on my own, no help, nothing else. Like, if you can get somebody else to drive your other truck or the backup truck or whatever that looks like for you, if you're able to do that, then you just doubled essentially your load capacity for dumpsters in one day. But in this video, we're talking about one person doing it and doing it well. So for me, 5 dumpsters, I cannot do well with my current model, how I have things. I'm not willing to change to a different model just yet. I'm wanting to really get in this rhythm and kind of iron out the kinks that is currently going on with the roll-off truck and getting faster and more efficient with that. But when we're talking about being able to, they already paid, and you have to go make it happen. If all of your cans today, if they were rented out, and let's just take the average, whatever your average mile away is, just take a guess. If you run enough dumpsters in your area, you're probably gonna have a decent idea. Between 5 and 8 miles, we'll call it, 6, 7, somewhere in there, whatever that looks like for you. For me, I've gone over an hour away. I've gone 3 blocks away from my house even, like just down the street. On average, I would probably say it's still in the 8 to 10 mile range. If we're even just excluding some of the outliers that are just way far out that I've been willing to do, but I'm charging a lot more for fuel. I don't think I've exactly priced myself out of the market completely for that, but if they want to use me, they're definitely paying per mile a decent amount. So for one person to be able to run cans, you've got to look at time and distance. Those are the 2 main factors. Different timings for different things, and then the overall distance that you're willing to go. If I had all 5 that were all the furthest away. We're talking worst case scenario, the furthest away. All of them were picked up and dropped off from the night before, and the morning of being dropped off. Being picked up in the morning and then dropped off in the morning. I don't think I could have done maybe even 3 if I was spending all of that time the other day doing that further distance. So I think this is something that, as you grow your business and you do acquire more dumpsters, you're inevitably, the growing pains of the business, you're going to experience this, and you're going to have to find a solution. You either go for the longer term rentals, so where ideally you don't have all of them at the same day, and the time period for dropping off, you either expand that. My normal drop off time is really between 7 and 9. I think my website says 7:30 and 9:30, just to give myself even a little bit more cushion later into the morning. But that's my target, 7 to 9. I call and text, hey, I'm on the way. Here's my ETA, blah, 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 blah. I can't do that with 5 cans, dump trailers and cans, whatever. That's not going to happen for me. And depending on your situation with your distance and your time, it's not going to happen for you either, probably. Unless you've just got a crazy small radius where you are just really targeting just one specific area, which at some point I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that with my ads as I'm growing in my knowledge of running ads online. But this is a pretty big deal. And it's a great problem to have because it means you're actually getting business. It means you're making money, hopefully. You're literally pushing the limits of your business currently, and maybe it's a little scary because you're thinking, well, what do I do? Where do I go from here? What if I can't get it all done? Do I hire another person? Do I change things up? What is the answer? And if you're not there yet, but you kind of see it on the horizon, you're thinking, oh dear, when I do get there, how is this going to work? What am I going to be able to do to correct this? If you're not thinking about this right now, even if you just have 1 or 2, start now. Think about your radius, where you want to be at, what is that going to look like long term, and at what point do you jump ship from one model to the other to accommodate your current setup. I think this is a huge thing for any business. I want to have my customers count on me that when I say I show up, I'm going to show up. And as of right now, I do have people willing to help me in my business, but there is no formal expectation of on every Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever, I have help. It's literally when they're available. If I have a dumpster and I need help, I call, I ask, hey, can you help me out? They could say no. Then what? So if you are trying to find out, think through this stuff, write it out, get a piece of paper, run the numbers. How long does it take you on your average dumpster to deliver, to pick up, dump, and deliver? Start writing those down. Even if you just have 1 or 2 cans, whatever that looks like, start the process now, because at a certain point, the teeter-totter is going to tip the other way and you're going to be in trouble as you acquire more dumpsters, or if you're just turning them so quickly, you're going to have to find a way. So I think this is important. I'm living it right now. I know, almost 2 years ago, I was just at the mercy of just hoping that one customer would use me, trying to make any money at all. And now, okay, we got some rhythm going. Now I need to adjust because I need to start factoring in these things, because this is seemingly just around the corner. Having these new, greater, good problems to have, but nonetheless still problems. So let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. If you have an idea what's worked for you, maybe somebody else who's already gone through this, you've already kind of paved the way, share with us down in the comments below what you think about this. This is my process. This is what I'm kind of going through right now, kind of almost 2 years into it, with 4 of my cans, 1 can of somebody else's, and just trying to build the business within this model that I have. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, hit the like button if this was a help to you. In the meantime, stay safe, guys, and God bless.